Okay, hey y'all. So the other day, I was watching the Kirk Franklin documentary. If y'all haven't seen the documentary, I'm gonna give y'all like a little quick overview of pretty much what the documentary was about, how it drew me to have this conversation about the father wound. In this documentary, Kirk Franklin, I'm gonna give y'all a little short little story. If y'all want to see the documentary, go watch it. It's on YouTube. So in this documentary, Kirk Franklin pretty much, he goes through this whole thing where he is discovering who his father is. He thought this one man was his dad. Come to find out the man's not his father or whatever, but the man is long dead. Long story short, somebody else is his biological father, and it so on and so forth. It just takes you on a string of emotions. In the documentary, like, he talked a lot about the things that he went through, you know, struggling in his identity, you know, just wanting to be somebody's son, like just wanting to belong, you know, wanting to have a father, you know what I'm saying? Neither of his parents was really in his life or whatever, but he went through a lot of things, you know, as a result of that, and come to find out, you know, he finds this guy, the guy's his father, so now they going on this whole new journey together, so on and so forth. But like, I want to speak from a woman's perspective of being a fatherless daughter and how that contributes to you as a woman, becoming a woman, the different struggles that you know you have as a woman. Like, watching that documentary, it brought up just like a lot of emotions for me. My story, I'm gonna just give y'all a little short. One day I'll talk about the whole story, but I was that child that, you know, didn't know their daddy. I didn't meet my daddy until I was maybe like 21. I met him at my brother's wake. My brother on my daddy's side, like, my brother had got killed or whatever. That was my first time ever meeting this man. That was my first time ever seeing this man in person, like, in my whole entire life. Like, I remember my siblings, you know, I remember them knowing who their daddy was or whatever, or, you know, sometimes they'll go with their dads or whatever the case may be. And I can remember times, like, as a little girl, like, I would be home. I was the daughter that didn't know who their daddy was. And thank you to my granddad, like my great granddaddy. He really helped fill that void as much as he could, because he was like my daddy, because I was raised by my great grandparents. So he was like that only father figure that I did somewhat have, but it still bothers you. You still question why, or you see other people who know their dad. And even growing up, like, my grandparent, my granddad, he used to always say, you don't even know who your dad is. You don't got no daddy. You don't got no daddy or whatever. And that stuff, believe it or not, like, that stuff, it just makes you have a lot of questions. Like, you question yourself, you question who you are as a person. Like, that's why, like, as a parent, like, it's so important for you to be in your child's life. It's so important for you to be present, because you set the tone for who that child becomes. You set the tone for everything. Like, that their identity, until they get a understanding of who God is, like, their identity is wrapped up in who you are a lot of times. And so I just always had this, like, why. It was to the point where I was like, do I even have a daddy? Like, like, thinking in my head, like, maybe I don't have it. Like, it just seemed so far-fetched. It just seemed like something that would never happen. Like, it seemed like something that I would never experience. Fast forward, you know, we get to this place where, you know, I'm pregnant with my son or whatever, and I had talked to my daddy on the phone for the first time ever in my life, and he was in prison. He was calling somebody else that I knew. And, you know, I had never, like I said, I had never talked to him before or anything. I had talked to him on the phone, and I could just tell, like, from my conversation with him, that his mentality was like, I felt like I was talking to a child. But in my mind, I'm like, I don't care, like, you know, at that time, especially, I didn't know half of what I know now, but at that time, I'm just like, shoot, I just want a father. But I knew inside, like, oh, this man is somewhere way else. He don't even have the mental capacity to, like, give me anything emotionally or mentally, just by my conversation with him. And I didn't really understand that then, but I know that wholeheartedly now, which has allowed me to come to a place of just forgiveness with him, because it's just clear to me that he cannot, like, he don't have it in him. And it's a lot of parents, like, people be thinking that these people just don't want to be in their life. Like, a lot of times these people know they can't offer you anything. They can't even offer themselves nothing. They can't even love themselves. And so it's like, how can they give you anything? So fast forward, I talked to him, you know, at that time in my life or whatever. That was the first time I had ever spoken with him. That was the first time I ever heard his voice. Fast forward years later, my brother ends up getting killed, and I go to the wake or whatever, and he at the wake. You know, he's there. And I knew who he was immediately, because I used to look up his jail pictures on the jail, Hillsborough County Sheriff, you know, website or whatever. And that was how I knew how he looked. And so y'all, immediately, like, I just know I wanted this man to be in my life so bad. Like, it felt like a missing piece to my puzzle. Like, I couldn't even focus on the wake in that moment, because I spotted him and I just went up to him and I just hugged him, like, for a long period of time, and didn't let him go. And that was how I knew, like, I just wanted this so bad. Like, I just wanted this man so bad, like, in my life. He obviously know who I am. He immediately hugs me back. I didn't even know if he knew who I was. I just knew who he was. And, you know, he introduced me to, I guess, his girlfriend at the time. Was like, yeah, this is my daughter, whatever. So he gave me his number or whatever. It's like, yeah, call me, or whatever. So, I had called him, you know, after that, and we talked the day of my brother's funeral. I had called him. It was real brief. And so after that, I called him. I just would call him, and he would not answer the phone. Like, it was like, after all of that was over, it was like he just disappeared. I would be calling this man, like, it would be just sporadic moments. I would just call his phone, and it would just ring. Like, I wouldn't get no answer. I wouldn't get no nothing. And so this happened. This process of me calling him happened maybe like for a whole year.